why you shouldn't emulate your favorite lifters or elite lifters. Well, there's a couple of reasons, and most of it has to do with their genetics. They are just better than the rest of us. It sucks to say that, but that's how it is. The other is it doesn't really have to do with them in particular, but leverages as a whole. We're all different. We're all built different. So let's start with that. Um, let's take Lane Norton. He's pretty popular. He's pretty famous. So a lot of people know him. His videos are pretty easy to access. Um, Long femurs, tends to lean forward a lot during the squat. Not a bad thing. It's just how he has to squat, right? You shouldn't emulate him if you have short femurs and a long torso. Makes sense, right? Now, if you have long femurs and you're built like Lane, does it mean you should squat exactly like him? Well, you're going to probably lean forward automatically. But are your feet going to point the same direction as his? The structure of your hips might be different. Your feet might have to point forward. Your feet might have to point all the way out. You have to pay attention to how your body is built. You might not pull the bar as far down. You might have shoulder problems, or you might have to go a little bit wider, maybe a little bit closer. Maybe you're not as wide as Lane. Maybe you don't have a shelf in your back that's as thick and as tight. There are tiny little nuances that you have to pay attention to yourself. Now, there's no reason you can't look at top level athletes and say, hey, what are they doing training wise that makes them a little different? That's okay to be curious, but again, their genetics are, they can pretty much go in the gym and do anything, and they're going to be better than everybody. An example of that is they get away with a lot. High level, elite level athletes get away with a lot. And an example of that is at Sheffield, there was a female athlete. Her knees consistently cave in. Now, people are going to say, hey, that's normal, whatever. It's sure, that's normal. If you have weak glutes, your knees are going to cave in. Can you work on that as an elite level athlete? Sure. Will it make her better? Absolutely. Now, immediately what went through my head was, that's eventually, if you have weak glutes and you're lifting at that level, eventually it's going to cause your hips to rise and it's going to cause your back to come over during a squat, during deadlifts. And it's eventually going to cause potentially a back injury. And then they announce she recovered from a back injury. And it's like, I don't like to point people out and shout them out like that. It's messed up. I want other people to learn from these things so that they don't make these mistakes. Again, elite level lifters get away with a lot. And if you watch Sheffield, you'll know what I'm talking about. Her knees even caved in and touched during her deadlifts, and she pulled conventional. That shows how weak her glutes are in comparison to how strong she is. And it's a very easy fix. Now, should you emulate the way she's squatting? No. If your knees are caving in, fix that problem. You should build a base. The rest of your body should be rock solid before you move up in weight. If your quads and your hamstrings and your back are strong enough to drive up 400 pounds, but your glutes are only 300-pound glutes, that's giving you a sign right there that there's your weak link. Or vice versa. If your hamstrings are weak, or if your quads are weak, if your abs are weak, if your erectors are weak, find the weak point and fix it. So, to bring it all together, should you emulate the top level lifters that are genetically gifted enough to where they can literally go in there and do anything and still be the best in the world? Talk to you guys later.